So, you've played all of the classes in TF2. You've flown through the sky as a soldier and popped heads as sniper, but number 3, Pyro, is your new man. A woman? Lizard? Monster? Whatever Pyro is, you've decided that Pyro is your new main. So then where do you start? Well, you're in luck, because I'm here to help guide you through playing the masked monstrosity that is the Pyro class. Pyro has a lot of depth that you wouldn't expect to see in a class known for being easy and shallow, and I won't lie and tell you that beginning to learn Pyro can be kind of boring and easy. At the lowest level, it really is just holding W and M1. However, at the highest level of Pyro, you can see Pyros like Sketchek or Kristanma doing insane things with the class, literally market guarding people with the extinguisher. But we aren't focused on the highest level of Pyro play for this video. We are focused simply on learning the ropes. So what exactly am I going to go over in this video? Well, we're going to go over Pyro's stats, his stock loadouts, and playstyles and matchups, and some general tips to keep in mind when playing him. Things to get you started on your journey. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. Let's first take a look at the Pyro himself so we can understand what it is we're working with here. Pyro has 175 base health, making him more tanky than the light classes, while moving at a standard 300 hammer units per second, making him the same speed as the engineer or sniper, and moving slightly slower than a medic or spy. Pyro's stock loadout consists of the flamethrower, the shotgun, and the fire axe, though he does have many alternatives. The flamethrower is Pyro's bread and butter weapon. Above every other flamethrower, the stock flamethrower is by far the most consistent, and overall is just the most helpful to the Pyro using it and his team. It has the most air blasts in the tank, meaning you can extinguish more teammates and stuff more Ubers with air blast without having to run back to an ammo crate quite as often. The stock flamethrower is also really good at being offensive on top of supportive, as its good consistent damage is usually enough to kill anything right in front of the Pyro using it. Not to mention afterburn, securing you kills you would never have gotten before, which is something that no other class can do. The flamethrower is a stock weapon. It's good, it's consistent, it's reliable, it's the flamethrower. If you don't know what flamethrower to use for Pyro with a loadout, the stock flamethrower is usually my go-to at least, and it should be yours. Pyro's secondary is the shotgun. Being the same weapon as his own soldier, heavy, and engineer, most TF2 players should have a good grasp as to what the stock shotgun is used for, and what it's good at. The stock shotgun is a great consistent weapon that is most helpful when your primary is out of ammo and you still need to shoot people. However, for Pyro, the script is just a little different. Sure, the stock shotgun is still good at being a backup tool when your primary is out of ammo, but it's also helpful for dealing with other Pyros as Pyro. You see, the Pyro v Pyro matchup is one I plan to talk more about later on, but for now, just know it's complicated to say the least. But the stock shotgun makes it much less complicated, as all you have to do is just, shoot him with your gun that does damage. The main reason the stock shotgun is so good against Pyro is because 1, it's hit scan so Pyro can't reflect it, 2, it has a longer range than the flamethrower that can be super exploitable, and 3, it fires really fast. All of this comes together to mean that if you have the shotgun equipped against an enemy Pyro, that dude is basically screwed, as long as you can aim, of course. And finally is the stock fire axe. Don't use it. The fire axe has the same niche that the stock shotgun has in that it's stock melee, and stock melees are helpful for dealing consistent close range damage when you're completely out of ammo. However, on every class besides spy, engineer, and maybe demo, depending on how you look at it, the stock melee is basically the worst choice of melee weapon, and Pyro is no exception. This is mainly because melee weapons have one of two uses, utility or survivability, that the stock melees just don't have. There are some general exceptions to this melee rule, but for now remember that melee should do one of those two things. Not to mention that if you're trying to kill someone at close range as Pyro, just, use your primary. That does a lot of close range damage. Why would you ever switch to your fire axe? Not to mention that if you're out of ammo, you should use your shotgun or secondary. Your melee should always be your very, very last choice, and if you're using the stock melee, you're basically screwed. I do plan to go over each of Pyro's unlockable weapons in more detail in individual videos, but for now let's go over some of the more notable unlocks and the playstyles they encourage. Backburner gives you guaranteed crits from behind, turning Pyro into even more of an ambush class than he already is. However, these crits are really finicky and don't work all the time, so I wouldn't recommend using the back burner for now. The Degreaser is considered by many to basically be the meta for Pyro, because above all classes, Pyro relies on his secondary the most, and having a weapon that makes access to that secondary easier is really good. However, the lack of afterburn damage makes posthumous kills with afterburn much harder, making this weapon particularly tuned for combo Pyro, with the flare gun or the extinguisher where you briefly set your opponent on fire, then hit them with either of the weapons I just listed for massive damage. You might hear flare combos be called puff and sting combos here and there, but this is mostly an old term that has fallen out of relevance lately. The Flog is a really bad weapon for new players as it does not allow the learning of Air Blast and will cause Pyro burnout, get it, quicker because the Flog is so linear in what it wants you to do. Don't use it for now. The Panic Attack is nearly a straight upgrade to the shotgun on Pyro, as the quick switch speed allows the Pyro to secure kills that he would never have gotten otherwise. This alongside the Degreaser is what I call the Purple Combo, as Lazy Purple's video on Pyro is what really got this combo into the spotlight. The Purple Combo has the highest single target damage out of anything Pyro can do, even above the Flog, making it possible to 1v1 heavies now. However, I really don't recommend this because it gets the idea that you can fight heavies into your brain and you cannot. Heavy wins. It's like scissors to rock, don't bother. The Man Melter is often regarded as a pretty underwhelming Pyro weapon. However, what I've learned is that the Man Melter is really good at being an anti-Pyro weapon on Pyro, as you can extinguish your teammates then spam crits with the Pyro causing the afterburn without having to do all sorts of crazy flame manipulation, making it probably his most supportive secondary weapon. The Detonator is an amazing mobility tool, and getting good at it is what defines a good Pyro main, as it allows a Pyro to flare jump, similar to how the rocket launcher allows you to rocket jump. However, this is very difficult and takes a lot of skill and practice to get good at. The Extinguisher is also a part of the combo Pyro playstyle, however it is used slightly differently from the flare gun as it deals a lot more damage, up to 167, and is a melee weapon, meaning it has much less range. This is one of the exceptions to the melee rule I outlined earlier, as this weapon is primarily used for killing people. The Homewrecker is the quintessential Pyro support weapon, as it can completely remove sappers from buildings, bullying spies even more than Pyro already does. This alongside the flare gun or shotgun and the stock flamethrower is what's known as the Pybro, a supportive Pyro playstyle that helps engineers to protect their buildings from spies and projectiles. The Pyrojack should be your go-to Pyro melee weapon, similar to how the flamethrower should be your go-to Pyro primary weapon. The speed boost it gives is just really helpful if you don't know what else to use for melee. The Neon Annihilator creates what is known as the Pyro Shark. An endangered species, the Pyro Shark gets full melee crits underwater, being the dominant life form of the sea. However, the reason they're so endangered is that water is just not a very common element for TF2 maps, so the Pyro Shark usually sticks to 2 fort. Pyro's matchups are not hard to figure out. It's easy to tell what Pyro struggles with and excels at. Soldiers are basically a cakewalk once you learn how to air blast well, however if you don't know how to air blast, they can be kind of a struggle. Don't fight heavy. Don't look at heavy. Don't even think about heavy. Heavy shreds Pyro. Never ever try to take down a heavy as Pyro. Ever. Sniper is a tricky nut to crack as Pyro, as he excels at the thing Pyro struggles with, long range combat. However, getting close to a sniper is his death sentence, as most snipers are terrible at close range. I say most because there are some rare snipers who can headshot you from super close range. However, if a sniper is really good, or a bot, don't bother. Just don't get in the sidelines, just don't bother. Don't. Spy is Pyro's easiest matchup. Because enemy players catch on fire when hit by the flamethrower, it makes Pyro the premier spy checker and spy killer. I've already talked about the Homewrecker bullying sappers, but just throwing fire on an area you think a spy is in can catch him off guard and usually does. However, Spy Revolver is also a really good Pyro killer, as it's consistent and deals a lot of damage over a short period of time. And if you're chasing a spy, he can easily gun you down with it, so be careful. But other than that, Spy is basically free food for you. You're gonna get melee critted. Pyro is at the perfect range to melee crit because melee weapons get a lot of random crits and they're super close range weapons, so it's gonna kill you a lot. A lot, and it's going to end a lot of lives for you. It's just gonna happen. Getting better at Pyro involves playing around melee. Now, flare crits, I'm biased in this because I love the flamethrower, or the flare gun. I love the flare gun, that is. Flare gun crits make quick work out of 5 of the 9 classes by dealing 90 damage. And assuming, let's say, you hit them with a flare previously, that's 30 damage, plus the 90 damage crit, that's 120 damage. You take 2 ticks of afterburn, and the light class is dead. Most players are not at full health, so it's good to keep in mind that a flare crit will 9 times out of 10 one-shot a light class. If you're interested in playing combo pyro, remember this. The extinguisher also deals tons of damage, like I said, upwards of 167, and as little as 86. Now, here's something I struggle with. Don't take on the entire enemy team at once. You're not a demo man. You can't do that. When taking on the entire team, you leave yourself to being spammed with too many projectiles to reflect, too many bullets to dodge, or sentry spam. Unless you have either reflected a Girardi, or a medic, or your team with you, stick to single or double target interactions. And the last thing I want to bring up is your flamethrower's range. It's very misleading, the model of the flamethrower and what it shoots out. It's very misleading. It looks like you're not shooting very far. However, the flames from the flamethrower go a pretty far distance, much farther than you would suspect from the model of the flames going forward. Just keep that in mind. And that's it. That's all I've got for this first video. Alright? I really hope you stick to playing Pyro, and I do plan to make more videos going on how to play Pyro. But for now, this is where I'm signing off. I will see you later, guys and gals. See you around.